Boyfriend said he wanted a break in our relationship to focus on his career. I broke up with him, and I know how that sounds. I know people are going to read that and think I overreacted, that I should have been more patient, more understanding, more flexible. Trust me, I gave him all three for months before it came to this. We met at a mutual friend's birthday 2 years ago. He was funny, driven, the kind of person who had a plan for everything. I like that about him. I liked that he knew where he was going. We got serious fast. By month 4, we were already talking about the future, where we'd live, what we wanted. It felt real. It felt like something worth protecting. Then he got into a competitive training program across the country. One of those opportunities you don't turn down. Hard to get into and harder to survive once you're in. I was proud of him when he told me. Genuinely happy. I told him that night we would figure it out, that distance wasn't going to end us. I believed it when I said it. The first few weeks weren't bad. We called every night. We texted throughout the day. It felt like we were managing it, but then the program got more intense and the calls got shorter, then less frequent. Then he started canceling them. He'd text me late at night, exhausted, saying he'd fallen asleep or lost track of time. I told myself that was normal, that this was temporary, that I just needed to hold on a little longer. So I adjusted. I stopped expecting calls at a set time. I stopped making plans on weekends because weekends were our call window. I started eating dinner alone most nights without mentioning it. I organized my schedule around whatever time he had left over after training, after studying, after everything else. And I did it without complaining because I told myself that's what love looks like when things get hard. 4 months of that. 4 months of being the one who waited, the one who adapted, the one who said everything was fine even on the nights it really wasn't. I was there the night he found out he failed an exam. He actually called me, which almost surprised me at that point. He sounded wrecked. I stayed on the phone with him for 2 hours. I told him he could push through, that one test didn't define him, that he was going to be okay. I believed every word I said. I just didn't know that conversation was one of the last real ones we were going to have. About a week later, on a Tuesday morning, I woke up to a text. No call, just a text. He said he needed to take a break from us so he could focus on finishing the program. He said the relationship was affecting his performance and he needed to clear his head. He laid it out calmly, cleanly, like he had drafted it multiple times before hitting send. And then at the very end, almost like a footnote, he asked if I'd want to revisit things once the program wrapped up. 2.5 months from now. 2.5 months. I put my phone down. I read it again. I kept waiting for the part where he said he was sorry, where he said this was tearing him apart, where he said he was scared I wouldn't be there when it was over. I scrolled looking for the part where I could tell it was costing him something to send it. It wasn't there. He wasn't panicked. He wasn't torn up. He was making a decision the way you handle a logistics problem, a clean, efficient, minimal emotion. And he expected me to nod along, to sit in a holding pattern for 2.5 months like the last 4 hadn't happened. That's when something in me just went quiet. Not angry, not crying, quiet. Because I finally saw it clearly. He wasn't asking for space to fight for us. He was asking for permission to remove me from his life without feeling guilty about it. A scheduled pause, a clean exit with a maybe attached at the end so he could still see himself as a decent person. He didn't ask how I was feeling. He didn't suggest we work through it together. He made the call alone, wrapped it in a text, and waited for me to go along with it. I didn't go along with it. I told him I don't want to be with someone who treats a relationship like something you pause when it gets inconvenient. When things get hard, you talk. You work through it together. You don't press pause and expect the other person to just wait there until you're ready to press play again. I had bent myself in every direction trying to make this work, and he responded by sending a drafted text on a Tuesday morning without so much as a phone call. Then I ended it. Not out of anger, not out of spite. I ended it because I finally understood something I had been avoiding for months. He wasn't confused about what he wanted. He was very clear. He just didn't want to say it directly because that would have made him the villain. I am not a chapter you bookmark and come back to. I am not something you put on hold, and I am done rearranging myself for someone who was already halfway out the door.